Camomalco cash system. Okay, so all right, this system I do want to go through just in case that you guys actually don't like look at the video, because cash system is very underrated now as compared to the other systems. It's very underrated. Even in the BPP textbook, they don't press so much on this cash system. However, in a recent year, this question came out, Camomalco ne. Okay, so I would think that this question is actually a very hard internal control question to attempt. Okay, because they never actually explain in detail. They basically did not explain in detail on the cash system here. Okay, so basically I want to like kind of look into it, like just a short explanation of the bank and cash system. Okay, so the bank and cash system here ada a few categories. Right now I am going to focus on the first things first is the cash till or the cash register. Okay, so I think that this is something that not everyone will know of unless maybe you have actually dealt with a cash till or a cash register. Okay, maybe you've worked part time, for example. Have any of you guys actually worked part time at like say a retail punya company or anything like that? So for example, I have also like worked part time at MBO before, MBO cinemas. So like I do have a little bit of experience in actually handling this cash till. So maybe I might actually this is something that actually is a little bit more common for me because I have dealt with it. However, for people who have never actually dealt with the cash register, it's very important for you to know how it works. Only then you can actually answer the internal control deficiency. Okay, so I'm just going to briefly look into it. So first things first, for each cash register here, then, each employee will have their own unique login code. Okay, and then they will basically have their own specific till point or a till register for their shift. Okay, so for example, Farha will basically have her own unique login code and then her own cash till that she is in charge of. So Farha should basically make sure that nobody else is using that cash register. Okay, what is the purpose of this control is we can identify which till is the one that is having problems or which till is basically who is responsible. We can basically identify who is responsible for this. Okay, maybe we can ask this person in charge. Okay, let's say if the shortage on this cash till kan is basically right now it's Farha punya cash till yang basically has a shortage. So we can actually go back to Farha and ask her what is the reason for this shortage. Okay, and next, on a daily basis, this cash register they will basically print out on a daily basis. They will print out this daily sales sheet. So at the end of the day, during the closing time, they will basically just press like a few buttons on this kind of like this it's like this small, you know, the receipt punya machine is the EFTPOS punya machine. Basically, when you press that, they will automatically generate and print out this daily sales sheet. So, for example, this daily sales sheet, total there is $100. So at the end of every day during the closing, okay, we will basically perform a reconciliation. Okay, the money in the cash register is 100. We have to make sure that this amount tally. Okay, the money in the cash till and the records on the daily sales sheet. Okay, so this recon is undertaken on a daily basis, usually during the closing time. Okay, same purpose is for us to identify which till have any shortages. Okay, all right. So this is basically for the daily sales sheet. Another thing is this daily sales sheet will have to be scanned and emailed to the head office on a daily basis. So this is for manual systems. Okay, usually for big or large scale companies, for example, like H&M. Okay, so whenever they actually have a sale, okay, when you go to H&M and purchase something, basically their sale that they have keep in the cash register might be automatically linked to their accounting system right now. Okay, so these sales will be automatically accounted for in their system. Okay, however, on a manual system, okay, this daily sales sheet will have to be scanned and emailed to the head office where they will be accounting for the sales on a daily basis. Okay, so that is on the cash register. Okay, so basically this money from the cash register has to be banked in promptly. Okay, we do not want to be keeping a lot of cash to prevent, basically this is to prevent theft. Okay, so there has to be two people in charge of this. One person can be opening the cash till and the other person will be recording the cash receipt within the receipt listing. Okay, this is to prevent one person from counting and the same person to record. Okay, because basically this segregation of duty is to also prevent whatever fraud. Okay, so another person will be responsible for recording within the cash book and writing up the pay-in slip. Another person will be responsible for the banking aid. Okay, and basically whatever unbanked cash receipts, we have to make sure that they are safeguarded to prevent from theft. Okay, so maybe we can store in a locked safe, and keys should only be with authorized personnel. These are more physical controls. Okay, once it is banked in, we will perform a bank recon. So this will be on a weekly or monthly basis, usually on a monthly basis. Okay, so the purpose again of whatever recon, guys, is to identify any errors, identify and resolve any errors on a timely basis. Okay, so next this will be reviewed by a supervisor or a manager, and then basically we will issue a customer statement of accounts. This will basically like be sent to the customer detailing all of the balance that they owe us. Okay, so next is basically on the petty cash. This is also a very popular question. Okay, this is something we're going to look into after this. Okay, so I hope that you guys understand a little bit on the system before we go through it. Okay, so the petty cash fund is usually another word that we call this is basically the petty cash float. Okay, so let's say they have set a float of $500. Okay, they will basically have to maintain this float at $500. If it reduces, this person who is managing this petty cash fund will basically request for more until the petty cash fund meet the 500 set amount. Okay, so basically there will be two people in charge. First person will basically make sure, okay, they will issue a check to fund the petty cash. This means that this person will be in charge of making sure that the petty cash fund stays at a $500. Okay, so let's say if it has reduced to $300 because the $200 has been used, so basically we will issue a check. This person will basically issue a check of another 200 to make sure that they are meeting the float of $500. Okay, and this other person will be the personnel who will approve whatever disbursements of the petty cash. Okay, and collect receipts. Okay, how does the process go? Is basically they will have this petty cash fund of $500. So whenever employees want to make any small business expenses, okay, for example, maybe a client comes to the office and right now we want to entertain this client. So the employees who want to make this claim from the petty cash fund, they will have to present whatever receipt and the petty cash voucher. So for example, let's say printing, right? Printing, basically this petty cash voucher is a document that records the expenses paid from the petty cash fund. Okay, and basically we will have a petty cash book that will record any in and out within the petty cash. Okay, another thing is we have to reconcile. Okay, basically the funds remaining here will be the original balance minus whatever money taken by the employees. Correct? Okay, basically the funds remaining as in hand right now will be the original balance, which is the float, minus 100, which is basically the money taken by the employees. So guys, basically whatever money that is taken by the employee should be evidenced by receipts. Okay, and the petty cash should be replenished monthly, okay, to make sure that they are meeting the preset float amount of 500. Okay, so let's look into the question for us to kind of understand this better. Okay, so right now they're asking us to identify and explain 8 deficiencies. Okay, so this is a negative, right, guys, in the cash receipt and payment system, and provide a recommendation to address each of this deficiency. So can I just give you guys like another 8 minutes just for you guys to review this scenario before we discuss it in more detail? Okay, so I'll see you guys at 10:26, and then I hope that you guys have highlighted your points. Okay. Hi guys, are you guys back? Okay. So this question is a little bit confusing in a way because they have actually like they kind of like jumbled it up and then they've also included like good control stuff. So they've mixed up the good controls and the bad controls. What the deficiency, the internal control deficiency. So actually it's very hard for you guys to differentiate between what they are doing right and what they are not doing. Okay. So this is the first internal control deficiency here. Okay, I want to explain before I actually get to answering. So at any time, the petty cash sum held and receipts should equal the float of $400. So what does this even mean, right? Then just now I have actually explained juga. Basically, whatever remaining balance right now, as of today, will equals to the original balance. The original balance is basically the float minus whatever employee has taken from the fund. Correct? So this is the equation, okay, that I have explained just now. So this statement is basically the same here. Okay, the petty cash sum held, okay, petty cash sum held and receipts should equal the float. Basically, they're just saying that the remaining balance, they just tebalkan balik this equation, remaining balance plus what the employee has spent on, okay, which is evidenced by a receipt, kan, basically, plus whatever receipt should equals the float. Okay, so you guys understand this equation tak? Is it okay? Understand? Okay. But it has been noted by the company's IA department that on some occasions, this has not been the case. Okay. So this is where the issue comes in. Okay. What is basically the issue here? So basically, right now, the issue is that, what do you guys think is the issue right now? What is the direct implication here? You guys try to explain based on what we actually reviewed just now. What do you guys think is the direct implication? Basically, dekat sini there is an implication that the cash may be spent on non-business items. Yes, correct, Shahira. Okay. Basically, the risk here, okay, we talk about what is the risk. Okay, I'm going to write the risk in blue. Okay. So the risk here is that there is a possibility that cash, petty cash, may be used on non-business items. Okay, non-business related items. So the one in blue ni is basically the direct implication. Okay, and maybe the one in purple is the apa nama dia? The general implication. Okay, so the general implication will be an increased cost to the company. Okay, so maybe we can basically go back to what are the usual controls when we are doing a petty cash. Okay, if you guys still remember, in this case, then on some occasions this has not been the case. Okay, this is basically because they are not actually submitting the receipt. Okay, so for some suggestions on this issue here, we can basically suggest that, first things first, we can suggest for the recommended control, we have to make sure that the employees actually provide a relevant receipt. Okay, to ensure that whatever expenses out of the petty cash are only paid on business items for business purposes only. So we will ask them for the receipt. And the second thing is, how can we track the petty cash, whatever in and out of the petty cash funds, guys? What will we use to track any in and out within the petty cash? Can you guys answer? What will we use to track whatever in and out? Basically, we will use a petty cash book or petty cash records lah, basically. Okay, so this is a control recommendation here. Okay, a petty cash book or record. We have to be very specific. A petty cash log is different now than a normal cash book record. Okay, so basically, on another thing that we can do is we want to do a reconciliation. Okay, we want to do a reconciliation. We have to make sure that basically we have to make sure that all of these petty cash expenses or petty cash whatever money that is like taken from the employees, basically there will be a relevant receipt. Okay, we have to make sure there is a relevant receipt for any money that is withdrawn from the petty cash. Okay, if there is no relevant receipt, we have to follow up. Okay, we have to follow up with the respective employee. Okay, so next is basically to speed up the payment process. Each venue has a specific log-on code which can be used to access all 5 tills and is changed every 2 weeks. Okay, right now this is actually very impractical. What is the control that we would suggest for this guy based on what I have actually taught you guys just now on the cash register? What can we actually suggest instead of they have this specific log-on code which is changed every 2 weeks? What should they be doing for the cash register instead? Okay, a recommendation, okay, based on what I taught you guys just now, is that each employee should have their own unique login code. Okay, so basically, okay, what is the risk when they actually have a specific log-on code which can be used to access all 5 tills? Right now, all 5 tills they have the same log-on code, right? So right now, kan, in the case where there are any issues, okay, whether let's say kan tadi kan, for example here, kan at the end of every day, we will basically reconcile between the money in the cash till and the daily sales sheet. Okay, we will do this on a till by till basis. But let's say if we reconcile, if we basically right now kan, if each till has the same log-on code, we will not be able to identify which till is causing the issue, which cash register is actually causing the issue here. So the risk here is that if there is a cash discrepancy, if the event of a cash discrepancy, then it will be difficult to ascertain or difficult to investigate which employee is responsible for this. Okay. Okay, because there is basically no way of tracking. Okay, there's no way of tracking as compared to if each employee have their own unique login code, we can basically trace, okay, who is the one who is managing this cash till. Okay, so basically what is the general implication here? If we are unable to investigate which employee is responsible, what is the general implication here, guys? Okay, this question I want to try to attempt it together with you guys. So I hope that you guys can give your cooperation here so that it's not just me and then you guys start faham. Okay, even if it's a slow process, let's do it together. Okay, so the general implication here is that cash could be easily misappropriated. If you guys don't have any ideas on the general implication, you guys can just actually look into my suggested from the module. Okay, yeah, another thing like Ifa said also is theft. Okay, it can be cash can be more susceptible to theft. Okay, so next is basically on the next point is this point here. Okay, the third point here. The total cash in all 5 till and the sum of credit card vouchers and these total are reconciled with the aggregated daily readings of sale taken from each till. Okay, so basically right now there is like 5 tills. Okay, and then these are reconciled with the aggregated daily readings. Okay, basically the total sales. Okay, so right now kan, the total, if like now kan, if we are reconciling like this kan, we are reconciling like this, if let's say the total from these 5 tills are 500, the total sales punya listing here, it is 1000. So there is a difference here, right? Okay, so right now if we are basically performing this reconciliation like this kind, the issue or the risk right now is that even as we are looking at this 500 difference, there's a 500 difference here, we are not sure which register, there's 5 registers, we are not sure which specific register is actually causing this discrepancy of $500. Okay, so that is right now the risk. Okay, basically it's the same concept like just now. Okay, where basically it is difficult to identify. It's difficult to identify which till caused the difference. So it's difficult to identify which till caused the difference or which employee is actually undertaking fraudulent transactions. Okay, so this could same thing could lead to an increased chance of misappropriation of cash being unidentified. Okay, so what do you guys think is the recommendation? Okay, the recommendation will be based on the internal control that I showed you guys just now, that I explained just now. Okay, basically we have to ensure that the recon should be undertaken on a till by till basis. Okay, so what does this mean then? Instead of we performing it in this way, where we reconcile the total of these 5 cash registers with the total overall sales, we will basically do like we have cash register number 1. Okay, cash register number 1 against the total sales of this specific cash sale. Okay, and then we have cash register number 2 with the punya total of sales instead of the overall aggregate. Okay, so we will have to make sure that recon should be undertaken on a till by till basis, so that the purpose is basically for us to ensure that any discrepancies are investigated immediately. Okay, so Najwa said each employee are assigned to a specific till. Okay, this is actually a good recommendation on this point here. Okay, so yeah, you're correct, Najwa. Each employee should be assigned to a specific till. Okay, at sini we can give another control recommendation. Basically, each employee should have a specific till point, at least up to the end of their shift. Okay, so the reconciliation should be undertaken on a till by till basis, so that any discrepancies can be investigated. Basically kan, if let's say there is any shortage here kan, okay, let's say kan in this case kan, the first cash register is operated by Najwa. Okay, so Najwa is allocated to this cash register, this specific cash register, up to the end of their shift. Okay, so basically right now, if there is any issue, right now Najwa punya cash in the till is 300, tapi their sales list ni is 500. So right now we can basically call up Najwa and ask her, okay, why is there a discrepancy of 200, right? Okay, so do you guys see that? Okay, so next is basically this is basically touching on the safeguarding. Each key is stored in a drawer of the manager's desk when not being used. So don't you think that people can actually still access this key, right? So macam, because this key is just being left there. Alright, so that is a risk here. I actually missed out on one more. Okay, so let's just talk about this first. Basically, we have to make sure that the cash is safeguarded properly. Okay, because this could be a significant amount. Okay, so what is the risk here, guys? What is the risk of each key being stored in a drawer? What do you guys think is the risk right now? Okay, so basically the risk is there is a risk of fraud or other employees may have access to the safe. Yeah. So basically this safe, this, because right now they are not even like actually, the key is stored in a drawer. So anyone else can access this. Anyone could possibly access this. And then basically this will be an increased risk of theft. Okay. So this can lead to a risk of significant cash losses. So this is the general implication, risk of significant cash losses. Okay. So another thing here, so right now we are at 5 points. Okay, this is the 5th point. The 4th point that I forgot here, the sheet are scanned and emailed to the cashier at head office at the end of each week. Why do you guys think this is a deficiency? Okay, so Haikal said there are no control such as lock. Okay, so maybe this is something that you guys can recommend with the one then, or the recommended control. We can maybe say that the key should be apa? instead of a physical lock, we can have a digital lock. And digital lock is basically you will have to key in a code. Okay, so maybe the code though only authorized personnel can keep it. Okay, so this is a recommended control. Okay, so on this point here, these sheets are scanned and emailed to the cashier at the end of each week. Why do you guys think that this is a deficiency? What is the issue here for this fourth point? What do you guys think? Apa kali dia? Oh, dah macam pening. Okay, Ain cakap cashier. Actually, the point here, if I were to recap, right, is basically, yeah, there could be an issue where some sales sheets could be misplaced. Okay. There is a risk that these sheets, these sales sheets are misplaced. Okay. Maybe it happened macam they will scan it only on a weekly basis. So throughout the week, what if there is a risk that these sales sheets may be misplaced? So what is the issue right now? There may be incomplete sales. Okay, the sales records may be incomplete sales. Okay. Okay, so yeah, correct. Maybe sales are not completely recorded. Yeah. Incomplete sales and cash being recorded in the accounting system. Okay. So since I have basically helped you guys out, okay, we have basically discussed this together. So can you guys attempt these 5 questions before we proceed? Okay, these 5 questions. I hope that since we have discussed this, you guys can explain on the deficiency and also write on your recommendation, okay, for these 5 points. So, and then I hope that you guys can also submit to the Padlet. Since we have discussed together, hopefully there will be more people who are submitting to the Padlet. Okay, guys? Again, I want to see how you guys are answering. Please present in the way I have taught you guys, okay? On the direct implication and the general implication, okay? So there are 5 points, okay? There are 5 points. So I'll give you guys a bit extra time, okay? So I'll give you guys 18 minutes to complete these 5 points. All right, so now it's 10:47. I'll see you guys at 11:05. Okay, I just leave it macam ni So see you guys at 11:05 with your completed answers. Okay. 5 more minutes, guys. Guys, time is up. Can you guys submit your answers to the Padlet now so we can discuss together? Just submit your answers. It's okay if you guys have not been able to complete it within the time. However, then another thing that I want to advise is from now, guys, if you guys actually attempt the question, even on your own, you should actually set a timer. Okay? Because on TV kan, okay, there is like a high chance that you may get carried away when you're writing your answer. And then like maybe the first question you go all out. You go all out and then you write a lot of recommendations. Okay? And then you are spending so much time on the first question. And then the second and the third question too, you don't have enough time and then you're not answering. Maybe your first question yang you have actually like wrote so much onto, it may actually not apply to you. Kan? And then you spend so much time and energy on it, eventually you don't even get the marks. And then you are basically losing marks on question number 2 and 3 because you are not doing your time management properly. Okay, time management is very crucial, especially in your audit paper. Okay, so I think that the two main things in audit is firstly your exam technique, second is your time management. Okay, so this is what I want you guys to practice with right now, even though we have discussed it. Okay, so I'm going to look into the Padlet right now. Let's see who has uploaded their answers. None of your answers, guys. Just submit your answers. I am still waiting. Baru nampak. It's not big. So yeah, I see a few of you guys. Okay, let's start dengan I'm punya. Okay. So first of all, I just want to say thank you for actually sharing your answer. Okay. Right. Maybe dia macam my internet a bit slow. Let me macam tak ikat. Let's look into this first question. So, kita punya answer. This is, I don't know who the answer is. ICS cash system. Okay, let's look into the answer sample here. At any time, the petty cash somehow should equal the fruit, so it has been noted that it has not been the case. Okay, this from this is 0.5 here. Okay, the petty cash may be used on non-business related items. This will be an increase cost to the company. Okay, this is correct. Yeah, so it's good that you say may. The petty cash may be used on non-business related items. Basically, this is the risk. The risk is that, okay, so this can be how you guys word your sentence. Okay, so this is another 0.5 mark here. Okay, for each sundry expenses, the employee should provide a receipt. The employee should record every expense in the petty cash book. Okay, we consult the petty cash book with the relevant receipts for any money being drawn up. There should be a follow-up. Okay, so on the petty cash book, okay, the petty cash log should be maintained. Another thing that you can add here, okay, basically for every purchase, okay, whatever purchase along with the amount, the date, and the employee. So these are the things that we will record within the petty cash book. Okay. Another thing is on purchase of the items should return the receipt. Okay, this is correct. This is correct. You can be more specific here. We consult the petty cash book with the relevant receipts. Okay, and then there should be a follow-up. Follow-up with the relevant employees. Okay. So yeah, this is also correct. This I can give 1 mark. To speed up the cash payment, okay, it might be difficult for the company to investigate. Cash is going to be easily misappropriated. Each employee should have their own unique login code. And another thing that you guys can add on here is this is required to be entered. Okay, we must make it a requirement. Okay, entered when using the cash till. What is another control recommendation that we can provide here, guys? Other than employee having their own unique login code. Okay. Another suggestion is basically the employees should be allocated to a specific point. To the end of the month. Basically, the purpose of this is that for any cash discrepancy, you can basically investigate and follow up with the employee involved. Basically, follow up with the employee that handles this cash. Okay. Next, the cash tills are closed down by the restaurant manager who counts the total cash in all five terms. Okay. In the case of cash discrepancy, will be the same thing, right? Okay. The continuation should be undertaken on a till by till basis. Okay. So that any discrepancy can be investigated. So yeah, this will be that. Thank you for submitting one more answer. So thank you to Ain. Good job, Ain. I see your effort in making my answer. Thank you. This is one here. Inquire petty cash. Okay, inquire petty cash only your sentence is wrong here. When we want to inquire, it is always a person, right? You will inquire with the so I think your term sheet would be very important. What kind of audit knowledge? Okay, whenever we are actually looking into a document or a record, we evaluate the wrong document. Hello? I don't know why. What about now, guys? Is it better now? It's like equal, guys. I think reference is just now equal. And then scientific is further than mine. So just inform me again to stop. Okay, so when was the last part that you guys saw that I saw? Stop. Can you guys hear me now? Now kita. Okay, Alhamdulillah. Okay, so I've switched back to my old headphone yang dah patah and then I just taped it again. So, last yang patah ni juga yang can actually function. Murungnya. So sorry guys for the inconvenience. I literally bought new headphones just because of this online class with you guys. Tapi still, shit happens sometimes, okay? So, back to my point just now. Alright. So, okay, this usage of your wording juga kan is actually quite important. So if we were to inquire, we are basically asking someone. Okay, we are asking if we want to use inquire, we are inquiring a person. So if we are looking at records, okay, we will inspect. We will use the word inspect here. Okay, so your sentence should be inspect the petty cash book and agree to the amounts that in the receipts. Hold on. Actually kan, you dah confuse something tau here, Iman. Right now, instead of control recommendations, you are basically doing test of control. Betul tak? Your answer here is more or less of testing of control. Right now, they are actually asking for control recommendations. Okay? So, kat sini, I think you have to review on this part here. Okay?
because this is the test of control. Alright, so next is basically, okay, in the event this is 1 point here. Okay, so this is also 1 point. I would say that these 2 points here will add up for you to get 1 point. Okay. Next is it is difficult to identify which tail caused the difference. Or another thing that you guys can say is it is difficult to identify which employee is undertaking fraudulent, which employee is basically undertaking fraud. Is what's the sentence? Which employee is committing fraud? Okay. Okay. So there is an increased risk of misappropriation of cash that is going unidentified. Okay, so this is 1 mark here. Okay, could misplace. This is 1 mark here. Okay, undertake a sequence check. Okay, kat sini kan, it actually comes as a pair. Okay, so yeah, Mimi, commit the fraud, yes. Macam my brain tadi macam fog up sekejap. Okay, so undertake a sequence check ni, we cannot just tell them to undertake a sequence check. First things first is we basically have to ensure the first recommendation is for us to tell them that this daily sales sheet should be sequentially numbered. Okay, it should be sequentially numbered. Okay, and then another thing that we can say, baru we can say that we will undertake a sequence check. Okay, so this comes as a start. First, we have to make sure that these daily sales sheets are sequentially numbered, and then we can undertake a sequence check to identify any gaps. Okay, any gaps to basically identify any missing sheets, sales sheets. Okay, another thing is we want to remit on a daily basis. Okay, instead of end of the week. Okay, so I would say that this year you only get 0.5 marks because you did not talk about the daily sales sheet being sequentially numbered. Okay, next is anyone could have access to the key, so there is a risk of significant cash losses. Another thing you can add here is that there is an increased risk of theft, especially since the cash is a significant amount. Okay, so there is a risk of significant cash losses. I can give this 1 mark. Okay, so what is recommended control for this kind? Like I said, maybe we can use a digital lock instead of a physical lock. So how does this work kan? Is basically you will just key in a digital code. Okay, a digital, basically a safe box with a digital code. Okay, I don't know, do you guys watch K-dramas? K-dramas pun they have that. Okay, if I cakap thumbprint lock, thumbprint lock ni lagi advanced lah. Thumbprint lock pun also can lah kot. Macam I feel like this is something we watch a lot in K-dramas. They always like the rich CEOs kan. Nanti diorang when they want to go inside their house kan, they akan just key in the code. So I feel like this is something that we don't really see in Malaysia. Not many people have actually updated this kan, because I don't think it's cheap. So similarly, we will basically recommend the lock to have a digital code instead of a physical key here. Okay, so Alia tanya, Miss, kalau code tu kan kita kena update monthly ke? I think that would be a good thing. Instead of you saying monthly kan, save with a digital code kan, maybe we can just say this code should be updated regularly. It's usually not on a monthly basis lah. Should be updated on a regular basis or maybe a quarterly basis. Maybe every 3 months we will change this code. Okay? Okay, Ain tanya, Miss, the drawer yang kena ada security lock atau the safe? Okay, so it is the safe, I would say. I think it's better for them to keep this because right now kan the issue is the physical key. Tau. It's like when they leave the physical key in the drawer and then this is not monitored kan. So that is the issue here. So I think it would be better instead of we use a physical key, we automatically just use a digital code. Okay? So this code should be updated on a regular or quarterly basis and only the authorized personnel. Okay, authorized personnel should have this code. Okay, so this is a suggestion. Alright, this is a recommended suggestion. However, boleh je other answers. Okay, other answers that are logical are still acceptable. Okay, So let's move on. Let's continue with the question. Okay, I've actually missed out on one juga. Alright? I've missed out on one answer actually. Hold on. It's very like uh it's very like low key tau. Okay. The other issue here is the tills are closed down by the restaurant manager, and then this restaurant manager will also reconcile this. Okay. So what do you guys think here? What do you guys think is the internal control deficiency? If this restaurant manager is the one who is basically closing down the cash till, and he is also the one that is reconciling. So correct, Alia and Ifa, you guys are correct. So there will be no segregation of duties. Okay. So basically, this person can actually commit fraud also. Okay. How will he commit fraud? Is basically he could wrongly, an example lah kan, when we are explanation in our explanation ni, we can say that the restaurant manager here, restaurant manager could basically, they could just record the sales as per each till tu incorrectly, right? So basically, they just record it wrongly, and then they take out the extra cash. Okay, so restaurant manager could fraudulently record total sales per till wrongly. Okay, so basically, this could also lead to a misappropriation of fund. Okay, you can say that the cash discrepancy maybe cannot be identified easily. Alright, so this is very low key, right? Like I said, some of the points here, they are not very obvious. Okay, they macam a bit low key, so it's hard for you guys to see it unless you really know the internal control of like what is the best internal control on this. That's why I suggest that after this class, maybe you guys can just look back into my recording, okay, on the Timba Flex too, to just actually increase your understanding on how the internal control works. Is it the same point, miss? This one, what do you mean this is the same point? This one is the same point lah. Okay, this is basically the direct implication. This is the general implication here. Are we going to get two separate points? Oh yeah, this is two separate points now. Okay, so tadi, because this one we are talking about the cash till. We were talking about it is difficult to identify which till caused the difference. Okay, so right now this is a separate point. No segregation of duties is a different internal control deficiency here. So just from this is you can actually separate this into 2 points. Alright? Okay, Alia? Okay, so moving on to the next point. Okay, so in this question, actually they have like quite a lot of internal control deficiencies that are a little bit like very low key lah. Okay, so the cashier agrees the cash transferred by the security company has been banked for all venues. Okay, the cashier agrees the cash transferred by the security company has been banked for all venues. Okay, this is not I see that good. Oh no, this is correct lah. This is basically this whole thing here is one. Okay, it is one huge deficiency here. Okay? This part until this part is the same thing. Okay, the issue here is there is no SOD, no segregation of duties. Right now, as you can see, the cashier is basically doing everything. She's the one agreeing the amount. Okay, she is also agreeing the cash per the daily sales sheet to bank deposit slips. Basically, she's also doing the bank record. She's updating the cash book. Okay, basically there is a lack of segregation of duties here. Okay, so it may be that this cashier can actually commit fraud. Okay, there is a possibility that she may actually commit fraud. How? Okay, it may be that she can actually, okay, we want to explain this. How can she actually commit the fraud here? You guys try to just try to give your opinion on this. Okay, how can we basically explain this point in more depth? How can she actually commit fraud? Okay, so somebody asked, can I share my notes on Cash and Bank? Okay, I will just share my entire notes for TOC. Maybe I'll upload it on Timba Flex after this, okay? Okay, so how can this cashier actually commit fraud here? Okay, because she is basically the one who is agreeing the amounts, and she is also the one who is like basically updating the cash book and undertaking the bank recon. So right now, it can be that what she can do is basically she can record the wrong amount or the inappropriate amount. Wait, record an inaccurate amount of cash, within the cash book. Okay. And so, for example, if she were to do this right now, there will be fictitious expenses also boleh. But wait, right now we are talking on cash receipt stuff, I think. Yeah, because dia cakap the cashier is basically responsible on cash receipts right now. Okay, so they can actually record inaccurate amount of cash within the cash book. Maybe let's say the amount that is recorded per the daily sales sheet is maybe $500. Kan? So because right now she's the one who's in charge of doing everything now. Okay, it may be that she update the cash book ni only $400. Instead, it should be 500, right? So basically, this 100 can be taken by her. Okay, so there is a risk of fraud that where she can record inaccurate amount of cash within the cash book. Okay, and this error may not be this error of fraud may not be identified. On a timely basis. Okay, so this can actually lead to a risk of significant cash losses. Okay, all right. So basically, what do you guys think is the control recommendation here, guys? What can we recommend here for this point? Okay, basically, we are just telling them, okay, we have to split this role. Okay, whenever the issue is segregation of duties, we want to split the roles. Yes, Mimi, we will split the roles. Kita akan split the roles. Okay, so basically, we will split the roles between the different members within the finance team. Okay, split the roles within different members of the finance team instead of one individual doing all of this. Okay. Okay. So next is basically on a monthly basis, the credit card company sends a statement of all credit card receipts, which is filed by the cashier. Okay, so sini pun is a very, very subtle deficiency that doesn't even seem like a deficiency, correct or not? Okay, correct or not, guys? Okay. This is why I cakap kat you guys have to revise on what is the good internal control system. Okay, because if not, you will not see it. Okay, what is the issue here is that right now, if it is being filed away, okay, they may not be basically, this is a sign that they are not reconciling this. Okay, what is the good internal control right now is that when the credit card company sends a statement of the credit card receipts, okay, let's say this is the statement then. Okay, this is the statement of all our credit card receipts. Okay, we cannot just basically file this away. Kalau tak, there is no purpose here. We want to make sure that this is reconciled. Okay, we want to reconcile our credit card vouchers. Okay, before that, I explain first. Okay, and when we basically make a payment by card, okay, we do not have just one receipt. We will basically receive a receipt and a cash receipt, and then we will have another copy of this receipt, right? This extra receipt is called a debit or credit card voucher. Debit card voucher. Okay, so sekarang ni we're talking about credit card, okay? Credit card voucher. So basically, we as the company will usually produce two of this stuff. They will produce two of this debit or credit card voucher. One will be given to the customer, and basically the other one will be kept by the business. So right now, the copy that is kept by the business, okay, should be reconciled. We should reconcile this with the statement, with the credit card statement that was provided by the credit card company. Okay, you guys see it now? Alright, so basically, this is what they should be doing. Okay, instead, they are just filing away this credit card statement without any reconciliation, so there's no purpose here. Okay, so on the explanation side, okay, I want to just briefly explain to you guys, and I'll just show my answers. Okay, so lastly is there's 2 more points here. Okay, every 2 months, the cashier reconciles the bank statements to the cash book. So right now, the issue is every 2 months. This is the sentence, right? So actually, how frequent are we supposed to carry out bank recons? What's the correct answer here, guys? So yeah, basically, it should be performed on a monthly basis, right? So this is the issue here. Okay. Last. Okay, sikit lagi guys before we end our class. Finance director is given the total amount of the payment list which he authorizes. What is the problem here, guys? Okay, the problem here is total. Instead of the FD actually look into the total, they are supposed to look into the detailed breakdown. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen for a little bit, okay, before we leave, just to show you guys how the answer is supposed to look like. Okay, yeah, so Azim also said supporting documents need to check also. That's true. Okay, so starting from which point earlier? And this is on the segregation of duties. Okay, I've already explained this. Okay, moving on here. On the reconciliation, the cashier is not checking that payments made by credit card have resulted in cash being received. The credit card statements are just filed away. This is an internal control deficiency. There is a risk that receipts may have been omitted and this will not be identified on a timely basis. Okay? So this may result in discrepancies with the credit card company not being identified and resolved. Okay? So basically kan, if let's say tadi kan we reconcile the credit card statement with our credit card vouchers and then there are any issues, we will usually contact the credit card company to ask them, okay? Basically any omissions, we will confirm this with the credit card company. So right now, if this is not being reconciled, how will we even know if there is any issue and how can we solve this? Okay, so that's why we will basically tell them to reconcile to the monthly statement received from the credit card company. Okay, the daily amounts per the statement should be agreed to the bank statement to ensure that all the funds have been received. Okay, this recon, again, wherever there's a reconciliation, there should be a review. Okay, right now, if you don't know who is the responsible official, you can just state the recon should be reviewed by a responsible official. And this should be evidenced by way of signature. Okay, next is on the bank recon. Okay, again, why do we do a recon, guys? So errors can be identified and resolved on a timely basis. Okay, this company is a cash-based business because they have stated in the scenario that 30% of their business is dealt in cash. So that is actually a hint that they are a cash-based business. So that's why it's even more important for them to actually perform a bank recon, right? Again, we basically just tell them to do it on a monthly basis and that somebody has to review this, which is the financial controller. Okay. Lastly, like Azim said just now, we basically have to look at the detail of the payment listing. If not, there is a risk that suppliers could be paid an incorrect amount or that these amounts are paid to fictitious suppliers. Okay, this will lead to additional cost to the company. Okay, so what will the FD do is they will review the whole payment list instead of actually looking at the total saja, they will basically have to review a breakdown or detail payment list prior to authorizing. Okay, they cannot just look at the total and sign this. They will have to agree to the supporting documents and review the supplier names to identify any duplicates, unfamiliar names, and evidence this review by signing the payment list. Okay, so basically now it's 11:43. I will basically upload this answer lah, so you guys can actually look into it also. I will update all the answer plan in the Timba Flex along with my notes. Do you guys have any questions before I end today's class? I just want to say sorry again for whatever inconveniences. Memang I feel like nak campak je my new headphones balik kat Ninjas. So it's okay, it happens because I guess it's a cheap headphone kan, because I needed it urgently. But if you guys don't have any questions, I will end my class tonight. Thank you so much guys for joining my class. It's okay, today is only the first day. I hope that tomorrow maybe we will do more practice so that we can get a little bit more, okay, we can like kind of understand how to answer this a little bit better. Okay guys?